Welcome to another episode of HCP Visits. Here's your host, Woody Watts.
This is Woody Watts with another episode from Hill City Paranormal. And I have fellow podcasters with me tonight in Lurid Accounts Podcast. I have Ryan and Vince with me tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Awesome. Thank y'all for joining me. And y'all have an awesome podcast. And I appreciate y'all willing to be on ours. And I am always interested in how people, one, got started into the paranormal realm or universe or even getting into podcasting. So kind of give me a little bit of background. What got you into this?
So basically, Ryan and I go back since 8th grade.
Yeah,
So
7th, 8th grade.
Yeah, we're both in our early 30s now, so we've been pretty much lifelong friends at this point. We were the kids that would go and run around the woods and go explore and, make stupid movies as kids and this and that, listen to metal music. And we were kind of, I don't know about outcasts are the right word, but the goofy kids, I guess.
Yeah, we did like synth music.
Right,
We had we did all kinds of crazy stuff. Driving around in the middle of the night.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't uncommon, before we had real careers to go out 12, 1 in the morning, just see what was going on, like these creepy parts, especially in the county.
Yeah.
And then, over, I guess it's been about a year ago, came up with the idea just to record on subjects that we wanted to, including paranormal, conspiracies, cryptid stuff, and stuff like that. And that's how, we came about.
That's funny because that's kind of how I got started. We would run around and I always had a camera in my hand, and then it just kind of one thing led to another, and you're like, hey, I want to talk about it, and hopefully people want to listen. That seems to be a common theme. So tell me some of your favorite episodes and things that you've covered. Like, share some stories with me, man. I love a good story.
Well, our first episode was about Montauk, the Montauk Project up in New York. That was our intro one, and I think it was over 2 hours. It was pretty lengthy.
Yeah, it was a good one. There was a lot of info on that one.
Yeah, so we try to mix like the details with like a funny aspect of it, because we're goofy guys. So there's some people that go on for hours and hours on details and not trying to throw a little twist of humor in there, because I don't want people to think they're listening to an audiobook necessarily.
Yeah.
Because it'll just drone out in the background and they'll forget half the stuff we talk about if we're just home all the way through. The Montauk, that was a really good one.
Yeah.
And I really liked our last one.
Yeah,
that was
I enjoyed the Skinwalker. Skinwalkers I really like to get into. They have some weird, the whole Skinwalker Ranch, because that just covers like almost everything.
Yeah, that's a topic that covers all topics. I can see.
Yeah, UFOs, cryptids, like ghosts, parallel dimensions, everything. And that one of my favorite subjects was the Skinwalker Ranch, and similar to that, like there's other ranches like that in Sedona. But that was one of my favorite ones to like get into and research, because I'd have been researching that one for a while already. And just the stories of like this thing crawling out of a portal and running off into the darkness. It's just really, it just was crazy sounding, but really neat.
Now, there was a show, if I'm not mistaken, isn't there a show on Travel Channel? I think it was called Alien Highway, right? Is that the same? And they were around Skinwalker Ranch. Is that the same place that I'm thinking about?
I think Alien Highway is the one that runs through Rachel, Nevada. That's like kind of parallel to Area 51, Groom Lake. And there's the UFO Highway, which is like the 37th parallel, which is actually what Maryland kind of goes through as well. So we have a lot of UFO sightings around here. But I think the Skinwalker Ranch is in northern Utah.
Okay.
And the UFO, I think that highway, I forget the actual name of the highway, but it's down in Nevada, like Rachel, Nevada, and the little alien, all that.
I got you.
Area 51. But they're not really that far away. It's just like down and across the state. With the name of the route, I remember the sign. I've seen the sign and all that stuff.
Right. Well, Skinwalker got real popular with Corbell.
Oh yeah.
Doing his thing. I don't know if you saw his documentary, I guess you want to call it, but it wasn't bad, but it didn't go into. I guess I can say this: there are other documentaries that go into way more detail than this.
the thing the Hunt for the Skinwalker is probably the best book you can get for it, because it was from, the guy who wrote it was actually there, Coleman Kelleher, and then George Knapp did a little bit of stuff with it. And that's the guy that wrote Bob Lazar's story. And if you want any info on Skinwalker Ranch, just look up the book Hunt for the Skinwalker.
So that's been your favorite one so far, right? Like that subject, that kind of, that area and everything, that it sounds like that kind of encompasses all paranormal. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, even, we tied it into, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Given the parallel dimensions and creatures going in and out. And that was a theory that we had, with Bigfoot as well.
Oh, wow. See, all right, now you're talking, because out here we live in a rural area where we are at the foot of just the Appalachian Mountains, and you can walk from, Maryland down to Georgia, wherever, up, without being seen, basically. And so there's a lot of sightings and noises and everything here. So whenever you say Bigfoot, and then I know that people often, there are people that believe that he can go through portals and, travel through different dimensions, and that's why he hasn't been found. Now, how do you feel about all that?
It's so, me personally, I guess I grew up always thinking, Bigfoot was just this, ominous creature that,
lurking around the woods.
Lurking around the woods. And then, honestly, it wasn't up until, a couple of years ago that I personally thought of, is that a possibility? Now, Ryan, on the other hand, he's always thought that always could be a possibility, even before that it came to my attention.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of paranormal research most of my life. I've had experiences since I was really young, and one of my first experiences is one of the places we're going to talk about is Point Lookout, which is the old Civil War prison camp, all the way at the bottom of Maryland.
The southernmost tip, I think.
Yeah. And it was the old Union Hospital, the prison camp. There was a hotel there too.
Yep.
And that's long gone.
Yeah, and the lighthouse is right there.
The lighthouse. There's been massacres and smallpox. Many soldiers died just laying on the ground in the mud, and bodies were just buried where they lay most of the time. There's still bodies down there they haven't found. Like you cannot allowed to dig down in this park because you might find bones and other stuff like that.
Yeah, for paranormal, it is a hot spot.
Yeah, they say that the lighthouse there is one of the most haunted lighthouses in America. So it's pretty famous. They've had some pretty big TV crews, paranormal investigators go to this place because there's so many sightings.
Mm-hmm.
Like my sighting, I was really young. I was probably like 7 or 8, and I was still is a playground, but it's different now. It's called Hammond Park on Point Lookout, and I was there. It was just my mom and I. It was like a day. It was kind of overcast and windy. It was cold out, and she sat on the park bench reading, and I was playing. And I went up to this, walked up this ladder up on the slide, and behind that was some woods, like a tree line. And all of a sudden, this big gust of wind comes, and the trees all blow, and I turn around and I look, and then I look back and down the slide, and in front of the slide, like just 20 feet away, there was a swing set, and I saw this girl swinging on the swings. And then another big gust of wind comes and blows the trees, and I turn around real quick, and I look back, and the girl is gone. The swing, nobody's there. There's nobody in the parking lot. So I go out on the slide, and I go to my mom, and I said, "Hey, where did that girl go?" She's like, it's just us here. There's nobody else. She said, "Look in the parking lot. It's nothing here." That was one of my first experiences there at Point Lookout, and that's one of the things that really got me into paranormal.
And you got to give the background to Point Lookout. I mean, like Brian was saying, during the Civil War, 1800s.
1860.
1862. I think the lighthouse was 1830.
Yeah.
Something like that. But anyway, you figure it was the largest run Union POW camp and it had one of the worst reputations. I mean, you can look. I mean, this is all documented. I think around 4,000 people died in all different kinds of ways. And this area was a hotbed. It essentially became a port, during the time of the Civil War.
Yeah, there was a ferry that ran from Virginia, and it'd bring in wounded and dying prisoners and Union soldiers to the hospital.
Yeah. I mean, even the look at or the lighthouse during the day is pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Because I think they still do tours of it.
Yeah, they do tours like once or twice a year now.
Yeah, I mean, we did it a few years ago.
Yeah, it was actually like freaking 15 years ago.
15,
yeah, I think so. Yeah. And it was just too many people there to get anything good, but it was definitely an experience. And I've been down there at night. We went down there at night.
Yeah, it's even if you don't believe in paranormal, just being down there in the 2 a.m. in pitch black, it's creepy enough just that.
Yeah.
And then you add all the animals, because it is a big wildlife area.
Yeah.
And then if you go and search for paranormal activity, then you're probably going to find it.
Yeah, like one night I went down there, I think I went down there by myself. You weren't with me this night. But I walked the entire, most of the park by myself with a video camera and a flashlight. And it was like nothing happened. And then, by the time I was going to leave, I got to where the replica Fort Lincoln is, which isn't where it actually was, but it's close. And all of a sudden, I got this feeling like somebody was just staring at me, it was super foggy out, too. It got really foggy, and it was pitch black. I couldn't see, 2 feet in front of me. And it felt like somebody was just right there in front of me, just watching me. And, later on, I read their stories of people seeing apparitions around that area. But it was definitely off-putting, just that feeling like you can't see them, but they can see you kind of because it was so dark. And you don't know what it is out there. So.
That is the eeriest feel. We've done that too. We've been out, and you're not really expecting anything. You don't really know what you're going to find, but that feeling where you're being watched, or something's there, and you can't even you don't even know where to look. You don't know where to focus on. But it's just that feeling. Just it sticks with you. And it sticks with me even when I get home after the fact. It takes me a little bit. I usually have to watch some funny movie or something to kind of shake it off, because
done that many times.
That actually happened to me yesterday. I was telling you earlier, man. Yeah. Yesterday, I do a lot of just hiking through the woods and stuff. I'll go on Google Maps and find old home sites and trails, and I'll just walk through the woods. And part of Southern Maryland is Indian Head, which is this really old area. There's a lot of stories about that area. I'll probably tell you some of those in a minute, but I'm going to tell you this feeling I got when I was there. It's the old rail trail, and I was walking down there, and I was looking for this old grain silo I saw on Google Maps in the woods. And it's a good distance walk, so I had done some other exploring in the area, and I went through the woods off the trail into this field and walked across the field into another field. And I just kind of was looking for the way into the woods to where I wanted to go. And I kept hearing these weird, bird calls. I couldn't recognize them. I hear animals all the time, and it's not a big deal, but it was I couldn't recognize these. And so I kind of just hung out because I saw a tree stand. I was I want to make sure nobody's around. So I just hung out in this field for a little bit, on the edge of the woods. And I was you know what, it's nice out, it's sunny, so I'm just going to kind of sit down and lay here real quick. And I just laid down, put my backpack down on my head, and just put my hood on to keep the sun out of my eyes. And I laid there for 3-4 minutes, and all of a sudden I heard this sound like somebody was running up on me. And I jumped up real quick because I thought maybe it was one of the hunters coming to get me off the property or something. And there was nobody there. I looked around, I kind of walked off to the woods a little bit, and there was nothing there. And then after I looked a little bit more, I saw this road trail kind of it just came out of nowhere. And I was okay, well, I guess that's the road I need to take to get to this thing I'm looking for. So I go up this hill on this old, 4x4 trail. And there's an old home site. It's just a huge chimney on the top of this hill with nothing else around it. And it's sunny out, and it's a little breezy. And I keep walking. I go past this home site, and then off in the distance, I see these huge birds. At first, I thought they were like ostriches almost because they were so big. And I was like, maybe they're just turkeys, but they weren't. They didn't sound like turkeys. I thought they were like people or something huge, and they were off in the distance. So I went down this hill to where they were, and they all were gone. And then I went off the trail into the woods to look for this thing, and all of a sudden, just everything got really dark in the woods. Like, got really windy, got really dark, and I just like this feeling of being watched. And I like had to get out of there, and I was just getting out of there as fast as I could. And it was like, I don't know, it was just weird how like oppressive it got all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Now I finally get out, and I go through the fields again, and I'm going to the woods to the main trail, and I hear like somebody whistle, like a hay like kind of whistle, and I stopped and turned around. There's nobody there. There's nobody in the tree stands. There's no vehicles. There's nobody on the trail, and I just like, okay, well, I better get out of here. Something wasn't right, but it's just a definite feeling of being watched, and something like was there. I don't know if the history of the land. There's a lot of native tribes were there. And that whole area is all the names of the area are like Port Tobacco and Po Monkey are all like kind of terms that were like the native tribes. That's like Port Tobacco is actually Po Tobacco was a native tribe that was in the area. I'm thinking maybe something was on the land, didn't want me there. Who knows? But it was just a very weird feeling. I've had it many times going to these places, and it's very off-putting.
Yeah.
And you don't know how to react sometimes because you can't see what is out there that could be watching you.
So do you, for your podcast, do you try to investigate places and then talk about them, or how do you approach that? I mean, like you have a very interesting method. Like you said, you Google mapped a place and you just kind of go hiking and then you find something. Is that typically how you find what you want to talk about?
For me, yeah, I'm big into history too, so I know a lot of historic places around here. So I'll Google map a lot of places and I'll find them, and then I'll look into history. But also I'll just go to them without knowing anything, which is sometimes better. So you don't know what to expect, and you're not projecting anything out there, which happens a lot. If you go to a place knowing everything that's going to happen, sometimes you can make it happen in your head.
Yeah,
it kind of skews any evidence that you do find. It's like a lot of the places I've been in, a lot of places, like the work that my dad has done, and I used to work with him. He does pest control, so we go into a lot of places that are either empty or really old. We need to do termite treatment, so you got to go in and fix all this stuff. And so you're in these houses sometimes by yourself, and like I've been all over the county in the Tri-County area, had weird experiences at houses while I'm doing work, seeing shadows and hearing things, and you're just trying to work, I'm just trying to get paid, and so it's just weird sometimes. So a lot of times, like even with my mom, she did a lot of artwork, so we'd go set up shows. I had another story where I was at this Breton Bay Golf Club where we were setting up for an art show the night before, and the front doors up for the upstairs were locked. It was the main dining hall. So we had to go through the basement and up this set of stairs to the main lobby. And Mom's like, all right, well, just wait here. I'll go get the van and pull around. So I'm waiting inside this big, creepy-ass place by myself. And I keep looking at the stairs that we came up because I'm like, something's right there. Something's coming up in steps. And I didn't like it. So I tried to ignore it and, wander around and just be like, okay. But I kept looking back at those steps because something was watching me. And finally, it felt like my mom was taking 20 years. So I finally, bust out the front door. I'm like, what is taking so long? And she's out there. And she's like, I'm just getting the stuff ready. I'm like, oh, can we hurry up? So when we left, I told her, I was like, somebody was at the stairs watching me. So the next day, she went back to do the art show, and I didn't go. But she asked the bartender that was there, and she's like, yeah, there's some story about this old servant that used to work here that goes up and down the steps all the time. I didn't know this before I went there, but okay. I felt it. And it was just this, I can't even describe the feeling of just it was like the anticipation. It's like when you're watching a horror movie and you know there's going to be a jump scare,
yep.
And it just doesn't happen though. And you're like, God damn it, what the?
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I mean, I used to see people standing in my kitchen at my mom's old apartment, which turns out it used to be an old farmhouse, and then it turned into a biker bar with all these like hidden doors and stuff that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
My brother and I used to sleep on the floor in the living room because my mom rented out a room to her friend. So it was a second story, and there was like a street light outside. And it was just an empty lot in the back. And I would lay on the floor in the middle of the night, and I would see a guy lean against the doorpost in the kitchen, act like he was smoking a cigarette, but you couldn't see like the smoke of the cherry from the cigarette. And he would walk back in the kitchen, walk back, lean against the doorpost, and just kind of stand there. And I would just lay there awake, not knowing what to do, you know?
Yeah.
Ryan has a lot more paranormal experience than I do. I'm still more of a skeptic, whether people want to know that or not, until it actually just happens.
I'm a pretty big skeptic too, because I try to disprove most of my stuff myself before I even come out with it. Because unless there's a way that I can't disprove it, then I'll talk about it. But if I can't,
but some skeptics, I mean, they make some of the best investigators because they're going in not knowing anything or not thinking of anything at all.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the best way to do it sometimes. If you go in just with an open mind, but also not letting everything in, you're not just taking any evidence that you see, oh my God, it's a ghost, or it's this or that. You have to like kind of really force yourself to try to disprove yourself more than prove yourself.
Right. Because, I mean, how many pictures has everyone ever taken with a white orb in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. You know what I mean? It's so, yeah, people want to just, it's got to be something. It's like, nah. It's
I always like the old wispy, like, breath ones.
Yeah.
You can't see it unless the flash goes off, and it shows up in the camera, you know, like, oh my God, there's an ectoplasm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
then, you know, pictures do, you know, some justice, but then EVP, like you do, what is you know, you can discern that from, you know, being audible to just background noise.
Yeah.
You know, it's clearly a word, or it's clearly just like the floor noise from the house.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it is really important to have, at least, I mean, because I know on our team, when we do, you know, like a big investigation or go into a place exploring, having a skeptic and a logical person is always helpful, because I am like the emotional, theatrical, entertaining type, and of course I'm already there, right? Like I'm like, okay, I heard a noise, it's something. Yeah, let's go. But like, you know, Jeremy, on the other hand, is the type where he again, he's like that. He has a logical reason and he brings it down. And so I think it's super helpful. And you know, my wife as well, we went Bigfooting a while back, and you know, I was the one that every noise, everything I heard in my head was a Bigfoot. You know, she was the one that kind of just brought it down, and then she ended up finding what we thought to be a print because she was paying attention in a different way than what I was. So it's like you even get so heightened that you could miss an obvious thing because you're just not paying attention. There's so much emotion involved.
Right.
That's it's like I believe a lot of things, but I'm also like skeptical. But I try not to overdo it myself. Because a lot of times I go to these places by myself, so I have to be like both, you know, where the skeptic and like it's crazy.
Well, if you bring up Bigfoot, I mean, there's been several sightings in Maryland. Down by us. I think there was another local guy. I forgot his name, but he was a Bigfoot investigator.
I've seen his truck.
Yeah, you've seen it. I think his name is Wade, possibly.
Yeah. That's awesome. Ranger.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, but basically, he swears that in Golden Beach, the Golden Beach area, from where we're at, is probably 30 minutes north.
About 20 minutes.
So yeah, it's a little secluded. You know, there's parts near the water. It's very wooded. But he swears there's a whole family of them, like 60 of them. But he's the only one who knows, you know, exactly where they're at.
We just own some property up there.
Yeah. But Bigfoot is it's very popular in the southern Maryland area.
Yeah, southern Maryland, and even on the eastern shore, there's this big, huge swamp over there that they say you can see weird floating lights. It's like like a Bigfoot, but it's that type of creature.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of probably more paranormal than people actually realize in this area because of the history of the area.
Maryland is extremely old and it has so much going on. A lot of, fighting, wars, especially a lot of military presence here, too. So a lot of weird shit with that.
Sure. Exactly.
A lot of underground bases, a lot of, the anthrax in the 9/11 attack, after 9/11 came from Maryland, from a lab. Something I don't know how it got out, but it was a lab. Was it Fort Detrick? Fort Detrick? Yeah, that's where the chemical weapons are made. And it somehow got out and sent to a bunch of people.
Right. Well, another one that I want to bring up is Moldaya real quick.
Oh, yeah.
That's on my mind. Actually, Ryan posted a picture on his Instagram of the rock that's in the Moldaya story. So Moldaya was an alleged witch back in the 17th century. Basically, they thought she was a witch, and they chased her out of her house in the middle. And
they burned her shack down, and
right.
Because it was like that year was a bad season for crops. Like there was a lot of illness. So
but they chased her in the woods, and she landed on this big boulder, like almost 1,000 pounds, probably. It's a pretty big rock.
Yeah, I'd say it's about 2.5, 3 feet long, like a foot tall, and like a 1.5 feet wide.
Yeah,
and it's just a large stone.
Right. And she fell onto it in the middle of the woods, and her handprints allegedly were on it at one point. You saw it.
Yeah, I used to go there all the time. It's right in Leonardtown Square, which is the county seat for St. Mary's.
That's where they moved it to.
Yeah.
Because they pulled it out of the woods.
Yeah, I actually know I work with a guy that lives on Moldaya Road. Okay. 2 guys. And he talks about seeing weird shit at his house all the time. And where the stone allegedly was, there was this lady that's like 90, but she doesn't live there anymore. There's a tree there that was the hanging tree also. And so
there have been plenty of accounts of Moldaya, like in the media.
Yeah.
Travel Channel's done a couple things on them.
Weather Channel even did one.
Weather Channel too. Yes, they did one. There've been a couple songs by some rock bands. There's a couple out west that did a couple. There's a local band here called Moldaya.
Yeah. I think there's even a beer now.
Probably, yeah.
I think there's a beer too.
Yeah, witches are popular.
You
can,
there was
like that.
There was only one actual account of a witch, not a witch, but somebody who was actually killed for being a witch in St. Mary's County. I cannot remember her name right now, but her story's not as popular as Moldaya, obviously.
Shouldn't have a beer named after her.
Maybe she had some lager named after. But like the stone, you used to be able to see. For some reason, they never put like a cover over top, so years and years of rain and stuff have eroded the stone. So now it's just kind of like rounded off. But I remember clearly seeing the handprint in this stone for many years. And somebody used to leave roses on it all the time. Like it's almost like, the other witches in the community were paying.
Well, I always thought it was kind of weird that they would take an alleged, witch rock or whatever you want to call it, and put it right next to the courthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was kind of
It's
weird.
literally right next to the courthouse and the old jail, which is supposedly haunted too.
Yeah.
And then there's like an underground jail right next to it. But it's another one of our county's claim to fame. Besides Point Lookout, you have Moldaya, and then there's just random.
I forgot to mention earlier, Point Lookout was in the game Fallout 3.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the settings, yeah. If people play games, I don't know if they do that anymore.
Yeah,
No, wait, all right, what? Say it again. What was it in?
Fallout 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was an expansion setting where they used the whole area, including the lighthouse, and they referenced the POW camps in that setting.
Yeah, they got most of the people that live there pretty correct.
Yeah, right.
I want to say it was on an episode of, I think Ghost Hunters or Ghost. It was years ago, and I think it was one of their better episodes. Actually, and they had a lot happen in the episode. Because there's, sometimes the TV shows they'll amp it up regardless. But this was actually one of them that was like, oh boy, yeah, that one does have something going on in it.
Right.
Yeah, Ghost Hunters has been down here a couple times. They're actually at Summerseat Farm as well.
Oh yeah,
and that's just past Oakville. And there's like a ghost of a girl that like is in the, like, said to be in the cemetery. They see her in the house. She'll touch people down in the cellar, like kind of push them around. Then there's a headless ghost too there. This British soldier got his head cut off by the American soldier because it was like, there was a woman it used to be a finishing school for girls, and she had two suitors. One was an American soldier and the other was a British one, and he came to see her. The guy waited at the garden gate, and when he showed up, he just cut his head off.
Man.
What did he say? He still wanders around.
He did not play. Well, that was it.
He said, man, she must have been hot.
Yeah, we'll have to try. Ooh. But, I mean, so we're in a rural area, so there's a lot of wooded areas, but
it's also like number 3 per capita millionaires in the U.S.
It's crazy, well, because so we're probably, an hour south of D.C.?
Yeah.
Probably a little closer to an hour and 45 from Baltimore.
Yeah.
We're really close to Virginia, obviously, right on the...
About an hour away from Virginia.
Yeah. From where we're at.
Yeah, where we're at right now.
And you're in Lynchburg, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So we're about, I think it takes us about three hours to get to D.C.-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right up 95.
Yeah.
It's Virginia is very interesting. I find Virginia very interesting.
It is.
As a paranormal place. It's a lot of history there. A lot of weird things that go on over there. Too.
It is. Well, it's a lot like what you were saying. Like the history here and the history there. There's just so many things going on. Like the battlefields, state capitals, everything. It's just like this. Especially these two states, you can't go down a street without there being some historical significance. Something, something happened there. And it's just so much history.
Oh, absolutely.
One of my favorite stories from Virginia is like this ghost pirate ship that floats over top this bay into the woods. I forget the name of the area, but it's like called Old Burnt House Woods or something like that.
Oh, gosh. I need to look into that one.
Yeah, it's... apparently there's like a treasure buried in these woods, and like these revolutionary soldiers walk through the woods every once in a while, and there's like this ship that comes in and floats up into the woods. From what I've heard, it's a really interesting story.
Yeah.
I think it's Burnt House Woods, something. It's on like I don't. It's closer to like Virginia Beach, in between there, and
yeah.
I think, but. That one's always an interesting story.
Yeah, I'm going to check that one out, yeah. Well, because...
Have you ever... good?
No, I was going to say, because, like, around here, and you could tell me if it's the same up there, like, you can travel, like, the towns are about 15 to 20 minutes apart, so you go from one town, you drive, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, you go to another town, and then in between the towns, there's, like, these epic battlefields, where all these battles were fought, and they're just, like, everything's sort of connected around this area.
More so on your side, but more north of us, there's a lot more battlefield.
Yeah.
Because since we're on this peninsula, they kind of stayed away. I mean, you have Antietam up here, which is a huge hot spot for paranormal activity. One of the bloodiest battle in the Civil War. One of them was at Antietam. There's like a gully that was like, I think it was called like Blood Alley or something like that. That was like blood just ran like a river down this road, and people dying. Like I used to go to Gettysburg and stuff, and I've always loved going up there. And I know Manassas. You guys got Manassas over there, which is really up now, but there's a lot of good battlefields over there.
Yeah. Oh well, like Gettysburg, you can instantly feel that. And that's like, oh, you walk out, especially if you're into paranormal or into just like creepy stuff. Like when the sun starts going down out there, it's hard not to feel some like just vibes going on.
Well, yeah, speaking of sun going down and creepy stuff coming out of the woods, another one that I want to talk about, well, Ryan and I want to talk about is Sotterley.
Oh yeah.
Sotterley Plantation. I mean, it's right now it was considered I think back in 2000, a historical landmark, like it was certified.
I think
it was a plantation house. There's slave cabins on the property. A bunch of old brick buildings there too. They have a big historical society around it, where they get fundraising going to keep it up, and as a preservation, they do tours and events there.
Yeah. They have like a wine festival there.
It's a big community.
They have weddings there now too.
They do. It's very, very beautiful.
Yeah, it's right on the water.
It's awesome. It's more secluded, which is great. It's not terribly big necessarily.
But for the time,
huge area of land, yes.
Yeah.
But the actual house itself isn't terribly big. But Ryan will tell you, sorry, I had words on it today. Remember going there and just looking at the way the lights were hitting the house, almost looked like the Amityville house.
Oh yeah.
At certain points, and looking in these windows and so it's creepy. It's very creepy.
Remember we went there one night, and it's like there's pea gravel in front of the house. It's like pathways to the house, and there's pea gravel. And we were walking, and we noticed that it sounded like there was a step off from our own, and kind of played with it, and we'd stop, and you'd hear one or two extra steps behind us, somebody was walking behind us. We did it 2 or 3 times, remember? And it was it was so weird. Then
was that the cabin night where we went in?
That was another night. That was with Brian. You usually you're gonna get sucked up the fireplace.
Oh my god! So we go into so you're not technically supposed to be in
They probably upped security after I went there.
This was 15 years ago, probably. Yeah. This all happened on a lot of
time. It was 2007 or 8.
It was way before that, I think. Well,
we might have been right out of high school.
Around high school time. Yeah. So we were young and dumb, and we're still dumb, but older and dumb now.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Old and dumb. But when you didn't really have too many kids, let's go to Saturday at 1 in the morning and see what's there. So we go in these cabins. They were slave cabins. The presence in the cabins alone are creepy enough because it is pure black. You cannot see anything.
Yeah.
Even with the moonlight out, you're just I don't know where I'm at.
Well, recently they put a motion light up there now.
Did they?
The past year or two.
But yeah, for some reason I thought I was I'm not going to stand next to a window. I'm not going to stand next to that fireplace or the staircase. I was so creeped out.
It's gonna be like Nightmare on Elm Street. You get sucked through the.
I don't know what was going on. I was just a big scaredy cat that night.
Something got you.
Yeah, nothing happened, but I think it was the fact that it was just 1, 2 in the morning, pitch black in this cabin in the woods. I was I don't know about this.
Well, remember, it was I don't think Garrett wasn't there that time, but we went that one time with Garrett, and we went down to the field. That's when you pissed all over yourself.
Oh yeah.
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 Well, it was
not because I was scared, just because I don't properly know how to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the
Yeah. We all had to pee, so I'm like, dude, I got to take a leak. So we're at the bottom of this field, and we kind of made a triangle away from each other, and we all pissed in the dark. And then I turn around, and we all turn around. I'm like, hey, Vince, you pee on your pants. He had piss all down the front of his pants. And then all of a sudden, I shine my flashlight up into the woods, and this ball of light floats into the woods and down, in this ravine. And we, ran down there to go see what it was. And it was just this really funny thing, and all of a sudden, caught us off guard. We couldn't find anything that would cause the light either. There wasn't anything to reflect off of when I shine a light. The light wasn't that strong, but the orb stood out from my light, and
I guess the picture we're trying to portray is you're at the big manor house.
And
it's overlooking this giant field with a wooden area, and right after that is the water, I believe. Right?
It's like a creek.
Okay. And so you picture this 2 in the morning, the moon is high up in the sky, it's bright, and you just see this white orb just go into the woods, and you're standing at the manor house, essentially, and you're like, oh, my God. So, obviously, by the time we get down there, it's not there.
Yeah.
Ryan went down there in the cellar. Well,
I went down there in the cellar one night. Yeah. Nothing happened down there. I got a couple pictures if I find them. But
you found some white orbs down there, didn't you?
Yeah. I did get a picture of a place there that one time. I went there by myself one night. When Kmart was still open. I bought a brand new camera at Kmart. It was $90. I was like, yeah, I'm going to take some pictures. Right. And at night, they have these big trees in the front that are lit up with floodlights. And it looks really neat. So I was like, I'm going to take a picture of these trees. And it was about 2 or 3 in the morning. And I go and I took a bunch of pictures. And when I got home, I uploaded them all on my computer. And I found one looked like this. It was like a string of light going around the side of the house. And the other was I'd gotten closer to the house and kind of took a picture towards the front. And there was a face, and you could see hair and a nose, eyes, mouth, and it was just floating It was really weird. It's like, because I didn't really feel anything while I was there. It was weird being there at night, but nothing crazy happened.
Even with two other people with you, it's still creepy.
Yeah.
Like, you get creeped out.
Well, the one time we went, it was you, me, and Garrett, and there's a story at Saddley of a small black girl that was like living in the house with the family, and every once in a while you see her on the second floor looking out a window, or kind of on the first floor walking around in between guests and stuff while they're giving tours sometimes. And we were there one night, and we were in the front of the mansion, the plantation house, and I had like one of those old school mag lights where you twist the top, turn it on.
Yeah.
And so Vince and Garrett were kind of off to the side of the building a little bit, and I'm just shining my light at the upstairs windows. And all the shutters are closed, except for one set of shutters that were like half open. And I'm just going down, looking at each set of windows, and as soon as I get to the one where the shutters are open, my light shuts off. So I'm like, God, battery. So I undid the back real quick, like kind of hefted it and put it back on. It didn't work, shaking it, and I point it back at the window, and I feel something go from my shoulder through my arm out the light, and the light turns back on at the window. And I was like, what the hell? And I asked those guys, I was like, did you guys just feel anything that just happened? They're like, no, we're cool.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, well, something just went through my arm and just like turned my light back on. It was just the weirdest feeling. Like it was like when your leg falls asleep,
Yeah.
but it was like moving
Yeah.
from from the top down to the bottom of my arm and out. And then there's a story there of a woman that walks down the steps, like when you knock on the door, or she'll tell you, get out of my house or whatever. So Garrett and I were there one night, and there's this long, front, brick area that it's like a patio, and it extends the full length of the house. And so he and I were there, and I was like, all right, I'm going to see if anybody comes down the steps. So I knock on the door pretty loud, and it wasn't a windy night, but all of a sudden this huge gust of wind comes down that whole pathway, blows all these leaves, and then it stops right at our feet.
Mm.
And we didn't say anything to each other. Mm-hmm. We waited about 20 seconds. I did it again, and the same thing happened. And we both looked at each other like, what was that? And then nothing happened for a little while, and we actually sat at this bench in the middle of the night just talking about girls, and all of a sudden we heard this loud bang, 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 down by the slave cabin. We ran down there. There was nothing down there. Nobody was there. There's no animals, but it was just like this loud banging on a door. We couldn't explain what it was. We couldn't find anything. It was just so weird.
Yeah.
Things like that happen all the time down here. So,
man. Well, that's awesome. Y'all have some great stories, and I can't wait to keep listening to the podcast. So tell everyone where they can listen to you, where they can find you, where they can keep up with your adventures and your just creepy happenings.
Sure. So we use Podbean as the hosting site, but you can find us on Google Play, Spotify, Spotify seems to be the more popular of those three nowadays. You can find us on there. We do have an Instagram. It's Lurid _accounts_podcast. I guess Lurid accounts is already taken since it had underscores.
Yeah, it's got to make it our own,
Yeah.
So, that's where you'll find, us posting, hey, check out for this episode, or updates, or questions, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's updated pretty regularly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's check back in. I want to hear some more stories. And, man, thank y'all for being on Hill City Paranormal.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Nice talking with y'all.
Be sure to check out our website at hillcityparanormal.com, and thank you for listening.